All right, we should be good. We should be good. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Again, I'm gonna check the audio, just cause I ain't no tech wizard, and if it works, then I can tell you guys all about it. But if it doesn't work, then you'll never know I'm talking about this. Again, sorry to keep you all waiting. All the two people. I guess one of them is just me. Oh, there we go. Oh, we just jumped. All right, there we go. All right, we got a show now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Oh, we can breathe. Happy Thursday. It is another, I don't want to say boring because the league's never really boring. It is another boring week of news. However, there are some things that have been, dotted lines have been signed, moves have been made, and strategies have been come up with for Fantasy Blitz. Very exciting stuff for us to talk about on this show. It's going to be kind of a, not too short of a one because I do want to go into depth about the draft strategy just because that is where your team is made. That's exactly where it starts. Streaming is important, yes, but the draft is where it's all the magic, where it all unfolds. So again, appreciate you guys being in the chat. Let me know if y'all are here, what you're doing, how your Thursday's been. But yeah, we're just gonna get straight into it. And as usual, the topics for today: NFL news and draft strategy. NFL news. All right. Mecole Hardman Jr., he's returning to the Chiefs on a one-year deal. This is a fantastic move just because of the wide receiver room over in Kansas City is insane. You got Xavier Worthy, a rookie who potentially, and also if you can hear metal being cut, that is okay. There's a guy working on some stuff, and I don't mind at all just because, you got to do what you got to do, and I'm using this studio free, so shout out to them. But he said he'll be quick, so no worries. But this is a huge move, I think, for the Chiefs and for Mecole because if he does really well this season, he gets an opportunity to go somewhere else and get better money. But this also adds to their depth. They did not have a lot of depth coming into this offseason before this move. So huge props to them. And it's a one-year deal, so it's just like play as hard as you can. A lot of one-year deals. Buccaneers signing Sterling Shepard to a one-year deal. This is just a vet move. He's coming off a torn Achilles and a torn ACL. Oof. So I don't see him being a huge involvement in the pass game, but it's Sterling Shepard. He adds veteran experience. So I do like the move as much as I don't like the Bucs. Cam Sutton. I like this move a lot by the Steelers because they needed some help on the defensive side, especially in the backfield. But Cam Sutton going to them for a one-year deal. I like what Pittsburgh's doing. They've been kind of mid for a while now, and I really like the idea of them not fully tanking, all right, or not even tanking, but like being bad. But they seem to go down a little bit and then back up, down a little bit, back up. But with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields coming in, obviously those are the two big signings or two big moves. This team has completely changed. It could go from garbage to hot garbage. I don't know. That's just what I think. But I like the move a lot from the Steelers with Cam Sutton. Chiefs defensive lineman. This one's crazy. I didn't know about this until I was looking up earlier. B.J. Thompson is in stable condition after suffering seizure during meeting. It's just wild to me. That's just absolutely insane. Thoughts and prayers, of course, the old cliche, but it is true. Thoughts and prayers up for B.J. Thompson because that is some serious stuff. And we want to make sure he can get back on the field and also just back in life in general. And then the next one, if this just shows you, what the NFL news looks like nowadays. I talk about a guy having a seizure during a meeting. Oh, and then by the way, the Vikings unveil their alternate uniform, the Winter Warrior. And yes, they are sick, and I'm going to show you guys what they look like because I'm not a huge jersey guy, all right? But these go hard. These go really, really hard. Oh, don't show. What? All right, here we go. Let me just do the zoom. All right, there we go. Aren't they kind of tough, though? Aren't they kind of tough? I mean, dude, look at that. That's cool. That's tight. I like the all white. I don't like the logo in the front, though. Yeah, like right here. Not a big fan of that. It looks kind of tacky, but I'm loving the all white, and it looks clean. And I like the name Winter Warrior. That's tough. That's really tough. But yeah, that's pretty much just the most recent news. But I mean, I'm not complaining about it because this is what we do nowadays. All right, let's get into some draft strategy. I was thinking about doing a draft with this show, but I decided not to because then it would just be too much back and forth. But that's okay. Let's look at the chat before we start. We got two chats. It's Chili, both of them. Of course, what up, Chili? Long time no see, sir. Where have you been? He says, what up, y'all? I'm tired of working. I understand that, Chili. As I grow up, I realize working is working. And that's just how it is. Wayne Heron says, clean look is what's up. That's right. That's right. I got to get a haircut, though. I don't know if he's talking about me, though. Appreciate it, Pops. But yeah, so let's get into this draft strategy. The draft strategy, I went by each position. So I did quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, defense slash special teams, and then kicker. And then I had an additional notes at the end that are like specific for just drafting in general and what you do after. But yeah, here we go. I'm excited because I don't think I've ever really talked about a draft strategy with y'all. And I've teased it a little bit, but nothing like this. But first one, quarterback. You have to have a dual threat and a solid-ish backup. You don't need like a Patrick Mahomes and, Lamar Jackson. You don't need that. That's just a waste. Unless you're looking to trade, but then you lost a roster spot and you definitely took those guys high. But you do need a dual threat, whether it's Lamar Jackson or even Tua. I know Tua doesn't run that much, but he can if he needs to, Doesn't do it often, but he will. And then the solid-ish backup, I would say along the lines of like Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield, even Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers was your backup and he stays healthy, that's a solid backup. I would not like him as my starter, but as a backup, that's pretty good. Just pair those two. But then I did put /stream, okay? Streaming, for those that don't know, that means just the waiver wire. And again, for those that don't know, the waiver wire is just the list of all the players that aren't on teams and that you can just pick up. Pretty much elementary stuff, but yeah, just for those that don't know. But yeah, stream those guys. If you want to go ahead and get like a Patrick Mahomes in like the second round or something crazy, then you're probably going to have to stream later on, which is okay because you got a stud at quarterback that you're never going to rotate out. And I'm not totally against it. That's just not my cup of tea. Next one, running back. All right, this is the key for running backs. Volume with no threat of a backup running back. What do I mean by that? Of course, there's a backup running back for every single team. All 32 teams have a backup running back. Are all backup running backs good? No. They're not all great either, or amazing, or decent. Some of them, however, do pose serious threats. A while ago, before he got hurt, Breece Hall and Michael Carter. Michael Carter was a little bit of a threat, okay? And then Khalil Herbert and Deontay Foreman and David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. It's just there's some guys on that roster. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. However, Bijan's a little bit of an exception because he's young and he's explosive. You have to be careful on who they play for and who they're playing against. And who they play for, and I mean that as in the sense of who's their coach, right? Bijan Robinson, we saw the perfect example last year under Arthur Smith. All right, it didn't work out. This guy's got like a lot of talent, and he could have had several touches, but nothing was there. So you have to look out for what kind of scheme they're playing. But volume. Too many times I've seen a guy get like 6 carries for like 50 yards. That's great. That's incredible. But he had 6 carries. If only he got 6 more carries, that's a drastic change. So you got to make sure that these guys are getting the ball as many times as they can and as they will. Next one is wide receiver. This one's just, we live in the wide receiver era, all right? So you got to make sure that you're not like super, super careful, but you definitely have to be picky on who your wide receiver 1 is. Because we no longer live in the running back era of who's your running back, like, oh, I got Chris Johnson, No. It's now who's your wide receiver. Oh, I got Justin Jefferson. Oh, I got Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. Like, these are guys that you want on your team, and you want to make sure that they're doing well. throughout the year consistently. All right, you need a guy that's not gonna like George Pickens. Love the player, love the guy, whatever. But he had like 5 games where he put up under 6 points or something crazy like that. Don't quote me. You got to make sure they're consistent. This is the most important position in all of fantasy. So, with that being said, I can only put really one, not only put, but the one that I did put was get a stud that can be hit on deep threats, okay? Most of the elite wide receivers can, but some can't, all right? Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, I can trust those guys fully, okay, to get a ball that's 50 yards in the air and potentially run another 20 or score or whatever, because those kind of plays really make or break your team when it's crunch time. Because I lost by 2 or I won by 2, but that guy did catch a ball for 60 yards and that's 7 points in a PPR. So make sure that you can get a guy and a quarterback that can throw the ball and get a ball really deep. But wide receivers, man, I like to load up on them, especially in this day and age, just because it's PPR, man. We live in a PPR world. That's how it rolls. Or that's how it rolls. I don't know, man. I haven't gotten much sleep this week, so I'm catching up. Shout out Yerba. Yerba break. And no, I don't hold drink cans like that ever. Weird wrist. All right, let's move on. Oh, hold on, man. You know the deal. You got to like and subscribe. You have to. You have to. You have no other choice. In all seriousness, I do appreciate you guys watching. You don't have to, but you do. And I really do love that we can have this time just to talk football, and even in these short little moments, talk about whatever the question is. So thank you. It would mean so much if you could like. Most of you that are watching are subscribed. But if you could share this to someone, just say, hey, could you subscribe to this channel? If you want to win your fantasy league, you should watch this channel. It really will help. I think so, at least. So we got 3 people in the chat and 3 likes. All right, we're working. We're working. I know this channel will blow up. I just know it. I really do. I'll never forget those that were in the chat during the single-digit days, and we'll get up to the triple digits. It's got to grind. But yeah, the question of the day is, though, who is your favorite musical group / artist? It could be a band. It could be like Michael Jackson, just one person. Whoever it may be. Let me know in the chat. If I had to say, I don't know. And not the rapper. Probably dude, I don't know. I got so many to choose from. Probably Kanye West and Pink Floyd. Musical group-wise. I don't know. Blurpay. What up? He says legend. What's up? Who is this? What up, legend? No, you're the legend because you're in the chat. What's good? Wayne Heron says, when was the last wide receiver era, and who was the top receiver back then? I would say during the Terrell Owens days with Chad Ochocinco and all them, Reggie Wayne, all those guys, maybe early 2010s or so. Yeah, but then running back just took over, and then now we're back in the wide receiver. No, you're a legend. Stop this, Blurpy. I'm doing a stream right now. Come on. But who's your favorite musical artist / group, Blurpy? I gotta know this. Chili, if you're still watching, who is it? I like music, so put me on game. Let's move on. Tight end. Red zone targets and target shares. This one's kind of weird, and I know our last show was about tight ends, and I kind of touched on it just a little bit. But red zone targets are huge because these guys don't get the ball that often, and when they do, you want to make sure it counts. You're not always getting a TJ Hawkinson guy where it's I can just throw a slant to him and he'll go 30 yards. It's fine. There's only one Travis Kelce in the world. So those guys, if you don't draft a high tight end, make sure that those guys can get red zone targets. And also, target shares. Target shares is huge because not every tight end is even the first option, second option, or third option on a lot of teams. So you want to make sure that these guys are getting the ball here and there. This is why, if I may raise my voice and rant a little bit, this is why Kyle Pitts every year has been talked about. He's going to be one of the best tight ends in the league. I still believe it, but it's because he can get the ball. He's not your typical tight end. He can run like crazy, and he should be getting these target shares because he runs like crazy. But Arthur Smith and Desmond Ridder said, and Marcus Mariota, got to throw you in there. I have other plans, is what they thought. But no, not anymore. Wayne Heron says, Neil Finn and maybe David Bowie. Great picks. Finn's a nice name, I will say that. Nickelback. Okay. I haven't listened to much of Nickelback, but okay. Cypress Hill, as Chili Rainbow says, I've never heard of him, but I will look him up. I will. You don't think I will? I will. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so red zone targets and target shares, that's what's most important, especially for a tight end. Moving on. Defense / special teams. Later rounds, you don't need to worry about this position at all, just because you could easily stream them. But my tip is they have to play in a weak division, underlined, bold, screaming offensively. No. This is not a weak division. I'm talking about a weak division offensively. This division has to suck. They can't score well. Like, past couple years, the South and the NFC has gotten a little bit better, but offensively, past 2 years, terrible. They've been really, really bad. So it'd be great to stream like the Saints or the Bucks or even the Falcons last year. But it would be totally different if it was like, well, even the AFC West, with the Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs, Chargers. Those are terrible offensive teams except for one. I'm including the Chargers because who are their weapons? Tell me, please. So make sure they're offensively weak, okay? They will prevail because that means they play them 6 times out of the 17-game schedule. That's over a third of their games that you're guaranteed. Not guaranteed, but you're looking pretty good on getting some good points. But let's move on to the next one after I read this chat. Blurpy. All right, we got a little reader. I mean, I'm excited for the regular season to come back for starts and sits and trade options because those are the best, just reading throughout, the chat or throughout the stream. Ooh, let me breathe. All right, my general rule of thumb is to draft a defense who plays a bad offense week 1 and then figure out every week. Yeah, Saints play Panthers and Bengals play Pats week 1. See, I'm not against that at all. I'm really not because it's a defense. They're projected like 7 to 9 points, depending on your league, every week. And sometimes they get you like 4 points. They start off with 10. Like, they're the only position that could really go down, like almost every time. So don't stress about it too much. Really don't. It's defense. You can stream. I know a lot of people that don't even draft defenses. They just get them right after the draft. And they just drop whoever because they want to get some depth. Yeah, so I like that a lot, Blurpy. Moving on. Kicker. Won't stay long on this one. Stream. Don't stress about this, please. I know a couple people as well that worry about kickers. Why in the world are you worrying about kickers? They're kickers. The point differential for oh man, you know what? I really might do it. I'm going to do it. We're going to look up the best kickers from last year, and I'm just going to show y'all. Watch me. Well, okay, hold on. Brandon Aubrey was pretty good last year, so I don't want to say it's completely different. But best fantasy, can't see or type, fantasy kickers, 2024. All right, let's see. Rankings. Oh, wait, no. I need 2023, not 4. Thank you guys for being so chill because this would not slide. Who had the points? All right, here we go. I'll show y'all. This is incredible. So, how many ads do I got to click out of? Why? Why y'all got to do this? Oh my gosh. Why? Okay. Doesn't matter. Just ignore the ads. Brandon Aubrey. All right. I don't think y'all can see that. Hold on. Here we go. So here are the points up here. 157, and 147, 138, 137, 136, 135, 134, 130. So these guys had, Brandon Aubrey and Justin Tucker had monster years. So let's say they had like a average first place year. It's like a 4-point difference. It's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it, all right? Let's just move on. I'm tired of this. Tired of the kicker thing. It's really not that big of a deal. So here are the additional notes, though. You got to land some studs in your first few rounds. It's crucial that you do, because every team that wins the championship in their league has a Christian McCaffrey, has a Tyreek Hill, has a Justin Jefferson, a Travis Kelce. You need to land some studs. You don't need to land each round, like first few rounds. You don't need a stud in each one. It'd be great if you did. But if you can get 2 out of the 3, that's good, because you need some guys that can give you a combined guarantee like 50 points. That's pretty good. 40 to 50 points, that's not bad. If you can guarantee that every week from 2 guys, that's solid. But, don't put all your, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So don't worry about getting MAHOMES in the first round, second round. That's dumb. Do not overthink. Whenever you're drafting, don't think about, well, who am I going to put here? Like the bye weeks, blah, 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 blah. Just go with your gut. That's as easy as it is. Go with your gut. Another one. Oh, okay, this is another one I forgot to mention, though. Think about the bye weeks. You don't want all of your wide receivers and running backs to be on the same bye week. Sometimes if you want to just take an L in week 8 because you got some guys that are guaranteed to be really good, like Justin Jefferson and Justin Jefferson and Christian McCaffrey. Let's say they have the same week of a bye, and if you want to take that, if you can get both of them somehow, sure, do it. But look out for the bye weeks. Depth versus boom potential. I'm a depth guy. I'm not very much so of a boom guy. And what that means is I like to stack up my roster rather than go for 4 to 5 guys that are just going to guarantee get me points and then worry about some other positions. I like to just stack up the roster because I do like to trade. Trading is fun. And that brings me out to almost the next one. Spread out the chart unless looking to trade down the road. So what I mean by that, too, is don't stack up on your running backs unless you're looking to get rid of some running backs in return for a wide receiver or a quarterback. Space it out pretty evenly, all right? I believe the positional limits is like 6 for each, or 6 to 8. So you can't really run out of room, but I don't know. Don't stack up your bench with wide receivers. And then we have the next one. Do not, and I mean it, do not trade right after the draft unless it will 100% help. I've done it, all right? I know a lot of people have done it. Right after the draft ends, they'll be like, let's trade, let's do some things. Don't do that. Just wait. Wait after a couple weeks to see if your team is good or not. Unless someone offers you a crazy deal. Last year I was in this one league and this one guy offered CeeDee Lamb for Rashee Rice. And he took it, of course. That's like the only time I would take a draft or a trade right after the draft. I'm pretty sure there was collusion going on, so I don't know. But don't do it. Just wait a couple weeks, all right? And then this kind of contradicts what I said, though, but take risk, all right? Take risk in that guy that tore his ACL like 2 years ago or so. Like Nick Chubb, I'm still going to draft him pretty high. I still think Nick Chubb is a solid running back. I'm not going to be too scared about his injury. However, you do need to think about past guys' injuries. We just talked about Sterling Shepard and how he tore his Achilles in 2021 and then 2022 tore his ACL. Guy is a little banged up, all right? I'm not going to draft Sterling Shepard in fantasy at all, but those players do exist that are hurt, and if you want to take that risk, if you think they're in the right situation on the right team, go for it. I'm not going to shame you for it at all. Next one is grab a handcuff, and what that means is a running back with a solid-ish backup, and I know I also said about the running back with high volume and no threat, but if you are going to draft a guy with that threat of a backup, handcuff that guy. So if you draft Bijan Robinson, look to get Tyler Algier in the later rounds. You may have to take a risk and draft him earlier than you would like. But that way, if Bijan Robinson's out and he's getting a lot of good looks, Tyler Algier, who could start on a lot of teams, is going to look pretty well in that situation. So just look out for solid backups, you know, and that's mainly for a running back position, maybe even a tight end, wide receiver. That's just streaming. I don't really worry about that too much. Like Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, that's not bad. But like you can't get Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk. That's just going to be impossible unless you're in a draft full of dummies. And then this one's more so of a joke, or these last two. Know who's going to tear their ACL. Of course, you can never know. But, you know, just happens every year. There's always those few guys that are like, oh, I drafted him in the first round. Happens. Part of the game. Sorry. And then the last one, have a good team name. Come on. It's fantasy football. You can't just be like Team Johnson. Dude, make something up. I don't care. Every week I change my name with a player on my team and make it into something. Like one time I had Derek Carr. This was forever ago. And my team name was Dude, Where's My Car? You know, just that kind of stuff. And I know it's so silly, but it really does bring morale up for your own team. And it's just fun, man. It's fantasy football. Let's have fun. Yeah. Oh, I think I got to sneeze. I can't tell, though. So, let's see. Robust One on Arm says, what's up, best NFL YouTube channel? What's up, best clothing brand? What's going on? Y'all got to go check out my man's merch. Hey, drop the IG tag before I go so I can shout it out. But yeah, that's the draft strategy. We'll probably do a draft next week and just kind of see, like, let's take those tips, apply them, see what's working. I'm definitely going to use a different website because my team was way too good. My friend Brandon texted me after he was watching the stream. He was like, dude, that team is, like, insanely good for a 12-man. I just told him, like, yeah, that's never going to happen. So I need to make it, like, realistic. And also, we all need to start thinking about the Fantasy Blitz League. Chili Rainbow is definitely in it because, you know, he won the league. Nick, Adam are going to definitely be in it. They have to be. Hopefully I can be in it this year. Joke. But if you want to be in it, let me know so I can get the old little thing going. Because I'm thinking about doing a 12-man, but 12-man's tough. Are y'all ready for a 12-man? It's hard, man. And then let's look at the chat. Wayne Heron says, what value are safeties versus linebackers? That's in IDP leagues, and that's individual defensive players. I'm in one of those. They're really fun, but it's kind of like a gag. But linebackers in those kind of leagues are crazy good because they get the most tackles. And interceptions are, in my league at least, they're not as valued as tackles, which I think they should be. Got to talk to the commissioner about that. But yeah. But in fantasy, though, not much of a difference. But in real life, I think linebackers are way more important. Way more important. That's just me. That concludes the show. Kind of a short one. We're running at 38 minutes right now. 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds. Yeah. Appreciate you guys, as always. I will always say that. And then there's the metal being cut for show. I don't like mine, though. At all. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next week. As always, God bless. Scratch that. God bless. Be kind. Peace.